So my name is Professor Ron Jeeves. I've been studying or researching the Abdullah Quilliam Mosque since the beginning of the 21st century, I guess. I was a part of the Abdullah Quilliam Society when this building was first located. And I wrote the biography of Abdullah Quilliam, which was published in 2010. And then more recently, a collection of the Sheikh Abdullah Quilliam's poetry, about 250 poems that were collected. We're standing today in the 1906 Trade Union building, next door to the old mosque building, and we're taking a party from MACFEST to see the historic mosque. That's the first mosque of Britain, and to look at the different activities and rooms that Abdullah Quilliam used to promote Islam in the Victorian period and through to the Edwardian period, including the first mosque itself.
So we thought we'd come back again with new people, and of course at this current moment in time, as you can imagine, we're going through a difficult time. All the more reason for us to visit a mosque, to come together, Muslims and non-Muslims, and I really appreciate all of you coming. You come from Blackburn, from Southport, from Bolton, from Manchester, from Liverpool. It's tremendous.
More qualified people to do that than me. My role is to protect, as a scholar and as a speaker, to protect the vision of the founder, Abdullah Quilliam, and to restore his mosque and the building that was his building, for it to be a heritage and museum of the history of British Muslims. That's my role. And number 10, Quilliam's original mosque extended to number 12. That block would have been the extension of this terrace. Why is it no longer part of the terrace? Because it was bombed in the Second World War and destroyed. And it was rebuilt, as you can see, like a 1960s building, and became a music shop. So we want to have it back. It's historic. It belongs to Quilliam's original block. But most significantly, we can fulfill something that Quilliam himself wanted to do, which was to have a purpose-built mosque in this block. So by getting this one, this is Quilliam's own plan for the mosque that he wanted to build in the Victorian era. So we are
to this country. And the strange thing is, it's a story I know almost nothing about. I'm told that this door is the country's first mosque. So, where's the mosque? You're standing really? This is where people would pray.
You went out about 200 Muslims praying in this mosque. Goodness me, it's in the 1890s.
You would have had an extraordinary gathering. You would have had British gentry, male and female, people from Liverpool's working classes.
The amount of Christians into the first generation of British Muslims must have been extremely charismatic. Who was he?
Abdullah Quilliam was born William Henry Quilliam from a very well-known Methodist family here who converted to Islam and surprised a lot of people when he did it.
A sickly young man.
You can see that, the mosque is becoming military guard of the Sultan. So his son was a lieutenant colonel, honorary, not. And then in 1889, that's the year before, the Shah of Persia had visited Liverpool, and he requested to meet the English Muslim and to congratulate him on his conversion, and he came here, the Shah. 1893, that's when the Shahzada of Afghanistan visits, and he's received at Liverpool Town Hall with honours And Quilliam is presented with £2,500 or 2,300 guineas, and he's given the Kula Izzat, the hat of honour of Afghanistan, and money used for the purchase of the mosque. This mosque was then purchased with that money. 1895, you had the Nawab Imdad Hassan Sawa Jung Bahadur, who was the secretary to the Nizam of Hyderabad, visit. So many famous Muslims are beginning to visit. 1893, you have a delegation of Muslim clerics, ulama, from Mecca come. And they arrive in Liverpool to visit, they come only to visit this mosque.
Okay.
Yeah. In 1893, this is very important for Quilliam, he went to Morocco on another visit, and he stayed in Fez, and he's conferred with the title of Alim from the university in Fez, the madrasa in Fez. This is, and it's after that he begins to issue fatwa, because he's now an Alim. So in 1887 he went, this is when he goes first to Morocco, and he stays for 3 months, and we know it's during this time that he converts, to Islam. In 1894 he represents, I mentioned this already, he goes to West Africa, and he represents the Sultan to open what is now the Jamia Masjid of Lagos. And he visits all of the black Muslim nations at that time. So he visits the Senegal, what was called Senegambia in those days, because it included the Gambia, Sierra Leone, Liberia, to promote Islam in Britain. The Liverpool Muslim Institute. Later on, Quilliam, when his work became known all over England, he changed it to the English Institute, Muslim Institute. Here the members would have gathered. They would have relaxed, talked to each other, and they would have got ready for prayer here. So before prayer they would have gathered in this room. We haven't finished it yet. There's still work to be done. These, we know, as I said, remember I said we know the exact verses of the Quran that were on the walls? So we've now had these done. Were they here last year when you came? I don't think they were. Muslims. Yeah, all of that area. So it's quite possible even the first communities, the people here in Liverpool, who are still to this day, they have a very big Yemeni community and Somali community. Their first relatives would have come at that time. They would have been Syrians. So, and people used to come even from London to be married here. Now this became very controversial because in the Raj at that time, it was forbidden. From 1887 to 2014. I'm so pleased that Dr. Muhammad Akbar Ali was able to open it. It had been his project, and he died very soon after. So he was able to see the fulfillment, of his vision. I was actually here that day, and it was not like this at all. It was still very messy, and we had the very first salat was done on that day, and since 1908. And although the beams and everything, it'll be a second job really to bring this back to how it looked at the time of Abdul Quilliam himself, once we're ready to begin. And this area here was never included in his mosque. His mosque began here, but there was no barrier. So it wasn't that you could see a barrier but he did not consider this to be mosque. Reason being that, one, because it was used as a lecture hall, but also one of the ways when no one would kind of accept what he was doing, no one would listen to him. He had some very, very bad experiences when he started. And he decided that the best way that you could get Christians to convert to Islam. Now remember, in those days, including Quilliam himself, these were not secular people. These were people who were devout Christians who were converting to Islam. So he thought about it, and he thought, just as the great Muhyiddin Chishti in India had introduced, but he said because the hymns themselves were not Islamically correct, because they were speaking about Jesus as God, or they were speaking about the Trinity, he rewrote the Christian hymn book. And I always say he tawhidized it. he made the Trinity parts tawhid. And where it mentions Jesus, he makes him messenger, not incarnation. So he changes the Christian hymn book, and on Sundays he would invite people to come for a lecture, and they would sing hymns. And that's why this area was never considered part of the mosque. Because he said in the mosque you would not have singing.
Sorry. Is this a real photo?
This is a real photo.
Of that time?
Of that time, yeah.
That's looking that way.
That's looking to here. So you can see here, you can see here, this arch. Yeah?
Yeah.
This one here. So this would have been the entrance into the mosque from here. But all Muslim marriages from here. Because he was a lawyer, he was able to do legal marriages. And this is the only place in Britain where if you were a Muslim, you could have a legal Muslim marriage. So, and we have a picture. It's not a very good one, unfortunately. It's the only picture we have. But here is a marriage taking place exactly where we're standing now. Yeah, you can see. And we know that he did between about somewhere around 50 to 100 marriages took place on this spot, and most of them were mixed. But also,
So it was legal.
madrasa. So he decided, this is something that Darul Ulooms of course will have to grapple with in the UK, that he would not only teach Arabic and here and some Islamic sciences, but he would also teach the British curriculum here. So the children, and no one wanted to come to such a little school, so they said, what kind of school is this in one room? And so he took his own children, who were very bright kids actually, they were at the Liverpool Institute, very famous school in this city. He took them out and he put them here. He said, I'll put my children here, and now you will see the education they get. And so he started from this room, and then as it became bigger, he got the next room, the one you just come through, and he segregated them to boys and girls. And he then began to advertise it in Muslim countries, because he negotiated with the university, actually Liverpool University, Liverpool College then. And he negotiated with the university, Liverpool College, to accept the exams which he did here as entry. And so therefore, students from here, if they passed their exam here, could go into the college. So he started with this, with just his own children, and then he developed it to be a very successful small school. And obviously after Ramadan, every night, and just generally for feeding the community after prayer. What is interesting is that Quilliam did something. We've seen that as a lawyer, he knew about the power of the word. He would always call the press. Come and see how Muslims celebrate Christmas. Yeah. And he would and at the end he would put a question. Where do you think that the two prophets of God, the Prophet Muhammad and the Prophet Isa, would spend their Christmas if they were in Liverpool today? Would they be sitting in a rich man's house eating a chicken or a turkey or a goose in those days? Or do you think they would have been down here serving the poor? Yeah.
Hello, I'm Steve Roman and I'm interested in Victorian architecture and heritage. So when I saw this visit and the talk which preceded it last month in the MACFEST programme, I booked immediately and I'm really pleased I came. It's a fascinating part of Liverpool and British history.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
My name is Mosque. I'm the Chief Executive of Quilliam Mosque, which is the home of India's first mosque. It's been a delightful event today here. We're delighted to host the MACFEST visit. It's a great partnership with MACFEST, which celebrates Muslim art, culture and festival. And we've had people coming from Bradford, Liverpool, Leeds, Manchester, across the country here on a special tour, on a special visit here in Liverpool at Britain's first mosque. So if you'd like to come and visit us, please give us a call, arrange a visit, and we will give you a great tour of Britain's first mosque. So I would like to thank MACFEST for choosing us as a place of visit. Thank you so much.
Today, I'm speaking to you here from the Quilliam Muslim Centre and Mosque in Liverpool, the oldest mosque in Britain. And I've just had a fascinating tour and a talk all about the history of Abdullah Quilliam. He's a very interesting man, a very controversial man perhaps for his wives, but a very important man in the history of Liverpool. Please come and visit if you're interested in Islamic history in this country.
Zabardast hospitality and warmth. Might as well do.